presentation from Giovanni Capozza and Paolo Sganzerla from JMAC Europe, Milan, Italy, titled Dojo, Practical Action Learning as a Key Enabler for Implementing the Lean Principles in Product Development Processes. And Paolo.
Okay. Few words just to introduce the topic of our presentation. We will speak about a way to teach Lean in a special process, which is the new product development process. Why we choose this process? Because according to our sensei, Akira Kodate, he always remembered me that the real secret of Toyota is not the Toyota production system, the TPS, but the TPDS, the Toyota product development system, linked with the fantastic production system. That's why we want to go here, but first of all, few words about our company. We are Japanese. No, our company is Japanese. We are the consulting company of the JMA. The JMA is a no-profit association. Here you can see all the companies inside our group. Maybe you recognize the last logo, the JIPM, the Japan Institute of Plant Maintenance. And our history is very long. We are very proud of our history, of course, and is strictly linked with the history of Lean. Not only because it's in Japan, but also because the link started with Shigeo Shingo, who was a consultant of JMA, and he was asked in the 50s to join Toyota and teach what? Production techniques, industrial engineering. And he developed the P course, the production course, which was a really particular course because the idea of Shigeo Shingo was to go directly to the Gemba and to learn directly on the Gemba. He avoided to go in the classroom and he decided to go directly to teach on the Gemba, making experiment, and from this experiment, you know, the SMED and so on. Here you can see a lot of methodology, the TPM, and some methodology related to the product development. I already quoted Akira Kodate, the inventor of the VRP, the Variety Reduction Program Techniques. And according to our history and to the Shingo principle, we decided in 2009 to erase the word formazione, that means traditional teaching, from our vocabulary. And we speak now about dojo, which is something related to the learning by doing concept. Is there anybody familiar with the martial arts? Yeah? So you know what is the dojo? Yeah? The dojo, this is the literal translation of the Japanese word, but dojo is a concept for us, and dojo is the learning gym, the arena where the sensei teach, where the sensei show how to make the movement, and where the learner try to apply, repeat, something similar to the kata, isn't it? And that's why we use this word in order to develop our concept of training, which is based on three principles: the experience, learn by doing; learning by experiences, learning by the theory follows the practice, not before. The second principle, very important, the error value principle. We learn from our mistakes. Mistakes are very important because we have in mind our mistakes and we remember our mistakes. And we can learn from our mistakes. And the third principle is the team value principle. We are sure that sharing mistakes, experiences together is possible to have a better way to learn. According to this principle, we decided to change the path, the traditional learning path, which is not effective. Studies done by scientists, by psychologists, show us that this is less of 10% of the theory is really applied in a traditional way. That's why we decided to change this kind of path, starting from experiences and mistakes. Very important, the mistakes, then the reflection. Here is important the role of the teacher in order to help the learner to reflect on our mistakes, and then comes the theory. But theory is a way to reflect and to make correction of mistakes. Obviously, the last step is the standardization and the application, and the continuous application. But mistakes sometimes are not feasible in the real world because they cost. That's why we decided to create our own factory. Has been created together with a local university, a private university, Luke University, really close to Milan. And we have a lot of fun also because after the workshop we can have some races and so on. And pay attention, this is not a simulation. This is not only a simulation, this is not only a game, because it's real. It's something very similar to the CET-PM I visited last day, because this object is very heavy, 35 kilos. We use real tools, and this is a simulation of the reality, very close to the reality, where mistakes are possible and where we can learn from our mistakes. Inside these contents, we developed a lot of training method. We also provide personalized training to our customer, but we started obviously with the lean production module, but we have also some module dedicated to top manager, and we help top manager to learn from their mistakes, having the role of the operators. It's very funny to see a senior president making a lot of mistakes. We have some advanced module. We have also some module related to the human resources, because the human resources are the most important thing. And the last, but not least, modules related to the lean design processes. Okay, it's up to you now.
Okay, thank you. So, what about the modules related to lean design, which is called Design for Value? The goals of this module is, first of all, to make people experience what does it mean to make a certain design choice, what does it mean in the downstream supply chain. And also with this module, we want to them experience that following some lean design criteria, it is actually possible to produce products meeting a dual target, to deliver a real value for customer and to deliver a real value for the company, which is doing the product right the first time. So meeting the target of quality, cost, and time to market. And we want to do this in only 2 days, which is not something easy to do. So these are the general goals of the Design for Value modules. And of course, being the new product development process, probably the most cross-functional process within a manufacturing company, the target learners are all the people involved, which takes a role, which plays a role in the product development process in their own company. Now, before to go into detail, which one? Okay, before to go into detail on this module, I just want a bit to focus on the differences of experiential training in operation with respect to experiential training in product development process. Because in operations, I mean, the boundaries are clear. You think, define something, try to apply an improvement, or try to do your first production run, then you can measure your performances, analyze eventually the mistakes you have done, and then start again the improvement loop. When we have to deal, however, with a new product development process, things are slightly complicated, especially in the reality, because we have to go back upstream in the chain of the company with feedback, and we have to find a way to make people experience how the design errors are translated in real error down here. And this is not easy in a real company. And we try to do this in this today's workshop. So we try to link, to make people experience, and to find the correlation of design or bad design or design errors with the errors or poor performance generated in downstream operations. And how we do that? This is our way. We take people and bring them in a full process development journey. So first, we challenge them in designing new products. So the challenge is, your company is losing market share. We have only one standard product. We have to differentiate, to target different customers. So your task is to develop 3 new products in order to boost up again the sales. And people start, we just give some very few input just to let them be able to design these products. Of course, we provide all the details of markets, product cost, process cost, and we leave them to design these 3 new products. And they normally do a good job. They present their 3 new products, which meets the value for the external customer, and we say we are confident to produce with this cost, with this quality, and so on. Okay, good job, but now we take the people, we steal the people from the development Gemba, and we put the people in the production Gemba. So now, please, realize what you have designed, okay? And very soon, they realize that there are some design choices which are not really suitable for, for production within the target of quality, cost, and time assigned. So they feel the fatigue and the stress and the, let's say, they feel on their own their poor performance given by what they have designed 15 minutes before. Okay? And what happens? Now they are eager to listen and to learn how some lean design principle can help them to avoid the design errors they have put in their first design. So we take again people from production Gemba and we put again in the product development Gemba. We ask, okay, now you have learned something by your mistakes. We teach you something, just some lean design principle. Please now review your product and try again. And what happens is that they start to communicate, okay? So they make a more rational design, because in the first step, they tend to work in separate team, if each of them design a different product. They optimize the design, and they actually are able, normally are able to meet the desired targets in terms of production volume, quality of the products, and cost of the product and of the process. And this is the whole journey. But we are not happy only with that. What we try to do is to make them think Therefore, for each relevant closure of the phase I've showed, we debrief with people. We ask them to rationalize their mistakes, to conceptualize what was wrong in their previous work. We give a bit of theory, just the theory they need to make improvements. They define improvements and they apply, so they are ready again to start a new cycle. And this is done for each relevant phase. Quick and frequent debrief, and try again. In other words, what we try to do is to make them walk in this knowledge spiral path. So thanks to the teamwork, we do something, we experience some errors, we share these errors, we externalize, we socialize with sharing this error. We link all the errors we have done together, we link this error with theory, and again, we apply the improvement and we learn how we can do better. So this is what we try to do for each relevant phase of this process. And normally, this is a very intense and powerful experience, since they put a lot of idea and they conceptualize a lot after having done on their own, having experienced so many mistakes on their own skin, let's say. So in the end, within this whole workshop, we enable people to see things from different perspectives. They can have multiple experience because they play different roles and they do by themselves all the mistakes and all the correction path. We make them feel actually the fatigue of doing an error on the paper, which then is translated on a real object. We give some tips, some methodologies to avoid design error, to be more lean in design their products, and we make them also experience the improvement in a realistic environment. And normally people understand that improvements are possible and results can come very quickly if they are able to work in a certain way. And more important, they receive immediate feedback after errors, conceptualize, and bring it back with them when they are back in their real company. And in the end, we think we can communicate what are the real levers to realize a lean new product development process within their own companies. So we have enough time. I would like also to show you a short 3-minute video just to give you a better flavor of what design for values is about. Can you please? Okay.
Yeah, it's a very special training for me. It was the first time really with so many experience within 2 days, and just practical experience and just feeling how it feels to be part of this process and having this horrible bad part or the bad design coming from the developers, and you have to work on it. That was really hard. You have a different feeling whether you just read about it or hear about it, or if you are really part of this team on the one side and the other side. And we had the chance to be in different groups. So you noticed, okay, you think different if you just are the marketing guy or if you are the one who works in the on the process side. And that was very helpful for me.
First of all, I can say that I attended lots of trainings previously, but now I feel very tired after this training. It is the first time that I feel really very tired after 2 days. But we couldn't understand how we spent the time. I think it's very useful to understand the Gemba, the workers, the production people, and especially the designer and the design people of the companies. I think it's very important to work on the physical items instead of papers and instead of classroom. This training, Design for Value, I think it's a chance to see the both sides of a company, the side of the designers and the side of the production people. The first day we saw all the mistakes about the processes, so we tried to correct the mistakes for the second day. So again, it was very important to see the both sides, the mistakes and the correlation of the mistakes.
Okay,
Okay, that's it.
that's all. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If there is any question,
Thanks a lot. We have 6-7 minutes for questions and answers. There's first one here from Giorgio.
It's not really a question. I'm sorry. First of all, congratulations for the music.
thank you.
No, it's just a testimonial because I have been part of one of the workshops, the one more related to production, the car factory. And I must say that it's really very effective in what respect, and it's really very effective for top manager, COOs, operations managers, because there you have a chance to switch roles that in your own company you don't have a chance to switch roles, because here you're looking to make mistakes, to learn from mistakes, but it's not very politically correct maybe to switch a role, go on a line in your own company, and well, you don't like it. So here you have this chance, which is really great. It's and what they have done is very close to a real production site. I heard one guy saying he went home exhausted. I went home more than exhausted because at the beginning you are put in a situation where you have to work with a very limited amount of information and instruction, which is not very uncommon in companies, maybe even in small companies. That is my experience. And it is really a lot of effort, especially psychological effort that you have. So, I mean, it's easier for a top manager to understand what it is about to be in the production gemba and do things. So I highly recommend to have this experience, but try to go jogging for a few days before doing that. Thank you.
Thanks, Giorgio, for the comments. Questions?
Yeah, it's more or less a suggestion. I was thinking that you should market or provide this service to hardcore finance controlling guys, or let's say to investment bankers, so that they maybe for the first time in their life understand reality and the real world.
I agree.
Thank you.
We had one workshop for a Swiss investment company. Once. Yeah.
Once.
Only once, unfortunately.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I really enjoyed it. Question that I have is with regard to the decoupling point that you said that it has to be avoided. So between the design people and the development people, there is some sort of separation, right?
The designs and the workers. I mean,
And the workers.
Design world and operations world.
Okay.
In real company, you cannot take engineer, bring to the line and tell, now try to do what you have designed. You know? So within these 2 days, we try to do that. So to make them experience real, what does it mean to design, to develop product with errors and to realize those errors in operations.
So my specific question is, when exactly on the process do you involve?
Well, you mean in this workshop?
If you go to your conclusions.
Yes. No, I see. But you mean when in this in the workshop during?
For example, in the workshop, in this specific context, or maybe a more generic.
In this workshop, the normal number of participants is between 9 and 12 because we want that everyone is doing something. And we mix the role. So all the people at the end are assigned with a design, marketing and design role. Then we mix up the people and we say, now produce it. So after the design is fixed, after they, let's say, freeze the design, then we mix and we ask, now produce them.
It's very important to have a short, limited number of participants because we want that everyone will experience what you have done. We don't want to have someone looking from the external because otherwise it's not effective.
Also from my side, many thanks to your presentation. I was always looking for these kind of experience possibilities. I saw it first time a couple of years ago in CETPM, so in the workshop, and I was completely fascinated there. So this is the second one I see in a way and very professional way. I just wanted to ask if you're sharing the video as well. So, because this is something which gives much a better impression than any kind of slide.
Yeah. Yes.
And this is like something I would like to forward to people and say, please look at this, here you can learn something.
Yes, of course. This video was from the last workshop in July, but we plan also to publish on our website, on YouTube, but we'll leave with no problem within the conference material.
The video.
Yes, there's one on the back. Final one.
Thank you. Within your training program, how many PDCA cycles do you have? How often do they rework their solution?
But normally, after each production run, well, we have a first Pdca cycle. After they freeze the design, we check if they really understand what was the value for the customer, and this was one part of the target. Then when we ask them to make some production run, which normally are 3 to 4, depending on how fast are they to review the design to meet also the internal value target. We make the brief, we give some theory, and we ask them to try again. So from 3 to 5 PDCA cycles.
So, like usually.
And sorry, we have also a final debrief moment, which is called Yatta Wakata Tsugi, which is a Japanese word to say, okay, now take 10 minutes to think what you have done of special, of extraordinary in these 2 days, what you have learned, and what is your takeaway from these 2 days. So this is the final moment. And the interview are reflecting what the people interviewed wrote on this Yatta Wakata Tsugi moment.
Okay, my advice to Konstantin is to have a Yatta Wakata Tsugi moment at the end of the conference. It will be. Okay?
Okay, I think if there's any comments, thanks a lot. Here is
Thank you to you.
From CETPM.